Hey all, and this is the Wings of Justice event. This is an Earth Commander event and Immortal Killer. It's also a special event with an extremely overpowered looking event deck. So what I've done here is made up 4 teams. I don't have the event ultimate form, so I've had to come up with alternative ideas. The deck here though is what I recommend using if you do have the ultimate form. Replace the Wisp with the event ultimate form. So let's start with the first team, the Crusade team you can see here. Jade Agents is on the team. I like this card for Crusade as it's 1 turn cooldown. I think it makes it very useful, plus it creates quite a few power gems. Useful for getting through those waves. Then Colossals of Corellis. This grants the next Earth Commander to use their battle skill a 200% damage buff. Useful for boosting up Brothers in Banditry, which has an increase of 300% to self-damage. The event ultimate form is slightly above that, making it better, plus it also converts. But yeah, Brothers in Banditry is not a bad second option if you don't have the event ultimate form. Still one of my favourite hitting cards. Then Oasis Allies. Again, this has a slight increase to self-damage. It's not as good as Brothers in Banditry, but it is Immortal Killer, and it's the best that has the killer skill needed for the event. This is why it's on the team. Oh, another thing to mention about this card is it does have a cleanse. That's quite useful for the bosses. They have Chaos and Poison. Then United Shardbearers. This is one of the best cards for increasing damage for Earth Commander. It's 80%, plus there's a permanent 50% as well. So that gives 130% in total. A very good card considering how old it is. So yeah, that's what I've come up with for the Crusade, and it seems to be working okay so far. The relics don't matter too much, it's just my best Earth Commander relics basically. No shields need to be broken for the Crusade. These relics are not that good though. They're only 1 pink star. It would be nicer to have some multiple pink stars on them. Now to move on to the bosses team. This works okay on both solo and guild bosses. It's pretty similar to the last team with a few slight changes though. The main change is Morochi Marauders is now on the team, just because this increases Earth Commander damage by 80%. Plus it does have a revive on it as well, which is always useful. Then it's just the previous cards you saw for the Crusade. Colossals of Corellis. This is used to boost up Brothers in Banditry with that 200% damage buff. Then it's 300% self damage buff. You can see here. Then Oasis Allies again. I kind of have to use this card since it has the killer skill needed for the event. It is a decent card, but it's not ideal because it increases self-damage rather than all Earth Commander damage. As such, my damage is not that good if I'm being honest. Then United Shardbearers again. One of my favourite Earth Commander cards, may I add. Then for the relics, a slight change. I need to put a couple of off-colour relics on the team to break the shields. So we have this dark one here that breaks the 4 shields. Then the water one here that also breaks 4 shields. So that's more than enough. Then 3 Earth Commander relics just to finish off the team. Nothing too exciting about that. Now I could try and use Metaverse Masters with one of these teams, but I don't really recommend it. For the bosses, if you can't get Metaverse Masters back up, you're not going to be dealing much damage. And that's always a major problem. So I think single affinity in this situation may be better. Here's the Ultimates team. It's pretty similar to the previous team, except I'm trying to break as many shields as possible. I may need to put an Earth Relic on this team though. It depends, I'll have to test this out. I've not encountered an ultimate yet. So this breaks 4 shields, then another 4 shields, plus we have another 4 shields. There we go, then 3 shields. Then 3 shields, so that breaks 18 shields in total, which isn't too bad, but they are all off-colour relics. Then if we go across to the team over here, this is the team I recommend using if you have the event ultimate form. I will talk through the team. So basically this is a very similar variant to my Water Slayer team you often see me using in events. Colossals of Corellis grants the next Earth Commander to use their battle skill 200% damage buff. Then combined with Metaverse Masters with that 150% buff, both used to boost up the event ultimate form, which would of course replace this Wisp. Then United Shardbearers again for that lovely boost to Earth Commander damage. Then High Performance Unit Iria, used to get supercharged up to boost up the event ultimate form even further. So yeah, that should be the most effective team if you do have the event ultimate form. There might be slightly better teams, for example, something using Noble Killer, but I don't think there's much that's going to beat this if I'm being honest. So those are the teams I've made up. A few other cards that might be useful are any Earth Commander cards that have some sort of increase to Earth Commander damage. This is another Immortal Killer card if you don't have either the Event Ultimate form or Oasis Allies. This one does have a few decent skills on it, but nothing too spectacular, unfortunately, as it is pretty old. The power gems are mainly spawned from the passive, but it does have that poison effect, so possibly might be useful if you are really struggling. Another card that could potentially be useful is Visions of the Void. This card says it increases Beast Killer damage, but it does actually work on all heroes. It does destroy all non-Earth gems though, so you do have to be a bit careful with this card. Yeah, and anything else that has a damage increase might be useful. For example, this card here, you can see increases Earth Commander damage by 80%, even though it's not an ultimate form. But there we go, I hope that gives you a few ideas for what you can use for the event. So let's get on with the actual event. Here we go. Alright, so here's the actual event. As always, I will be focusing on that Umbral Crusade. Now I do recommend checking to see if there are any adventurers that are suitable for use before using guildmates or friends. I do have a lot of friends though that are usable this time around. There's no adventurers, so I might as well take an ultimate form from the current event and use that. So here we go. Now for the regular enemies, you can sometimes get away with just using 2 cards. The card on the far left is especially useful as it has a 1-turn cooldown. So I'm always going to use that. Then you can use this card twice. You saw it recharged, so I can just boost up the 1 card like this with that card, and that should easily be enough to take care of the regular enemies. There we go, you can see the damage on the current event ultimate form is not far off of 1Q, so yeah. Now for the bosses, something slightly different. Using the 3 cards should be enough. The Crusade is all about using as few cards as possible to get through the waves as quickly as possible. But yeah, I'm doing okay so far. Regular enemies. So I might as well just use the 2 cards and see if that's enough. Hopefully it will be, but we will see. Yeah, it should be close to doing enough damage. Yeah, there we go, nice. And then for the end boss, if Kronos, Lord of Time, spawns and you can't defeat the solo bosses, that's the point I recommend quitting out at. Like that, I'm not actually going to quit out. But yeah, any other boss doesn't give solo bosses. Kronos, Lord of Time will, and the solo bosses are quite tough this time around, so you do have to be a bit careful if your team is not that strong. If you get stuck on a solo boss, then that's pretty much the end of your crusade. But yeah, this should be enough to defeat it now. Nice. So not too difficult, but I did take an event ultimate form as a friend. And there we go. So sometimes you do get the special items as well. I didn't this time around. Thankfully, there's no off-colour bosses in the Crusade. We've had that before, and they are an absolute nightmare. But there we go, that's what the Crusade looks like. Now to move on to the guild bosses. Alright, so now to try my team out on the guild bosses. There's not much point in doing a solo boss as well, since they both have the same defender skills. So you can see here, Chaos and Poison on the guild boss. One of those can be removed by Oasis allies, but it doesn't remove both of them, unfortunately, which may make this tricky. Anyway, let's see how this goes. It's a pretty straightforward team, just left to right. You should have enough earth gems at the start. You can also use the second card twice, so you can boost up Oasis allies as well. Doesn't do too much of an increase to the damage, but it is a bit more, since both Brothers in Banditry and Oasis allies gets a boost. You can see here around 10Q across the cards if you boost up both of them. Otherwise it would do around 8Q if I just boost up Brothers in Banditry. The problem now, though, is Chaos and Poison. Chaos is probably the biggest problem here. Poison not so much, and there's a revive as well if needed, so if I do die, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Let's repeat the process, though. Boost up both of them. Oasis allies normally removes poison, but this time it removed chaos, which is good. And yeah, that's the basic of this team. It doesn't do too much damage, but you can repeatedly use it, which is always good. I will get the event ultimate form at a later date. Hopefully that will do 30 to 40Q. I'll just hit this once more. You've got to see what this team can do, which was the important part. It's not going to kill this, as you probably expected. I could mix up a couple of the cards as well. It may increase the damage slightly with other cards that increase Earth Commander damage, but I don't think I'm going to be doing much more than this, unfortunately. I could try my Water Slayer team, I guess, but again, I doubt that's going to do too much damage. There we go. I will quit out at this point, I think. So yeah, that gives an idea of what my Earth Commander team can do in terms of damage. It's not spectacular, but it is okay. I'm going to try it for fun, the Water Slayer team, just to see what it does. I don't think it's going to do too much, but we are about to find out. These Metaverse Masters, then Iria on the next turn. Then hopefully I'll have enough Water Gems to do something. I'm curious to see what this does as well. It will remove both Chaos and Poison, which is always nice. And then left to right, I can't see this doing more than 10Q though. I'll never know unless I try. I bet this does around 3 to 4Q. Let's see. .5Q. So yeah, it's slightly underneath my Earth Commander team. It's kind of surprising actually just how overpowered this combination is. I'll hit again. I was definitely doing slightly more with my Earth Commander team over this team. But yeah, this is the team if you don't have anything else to use nowadays. Here we go. Totally the wrong team, should I add. Water Slayer when the enemies are water. Yeah, 2.4Q. I will stick with my Earth Commander team. It's definitely better than my Water Slayer. It was quite fun to try that out, though, just to see what it did. The damage wasn't even that bad as well. So one thing I will say, we do also have these Wings of Justice bosses. You get the special crates that have these parts in them. They are for the rewards, I think. I will talk a bit more about that in the next part of the video. But yeah, definitely recommend either killing or tagging these bosses when you can if they have the Wings of Justice, even if they are lower value. So for example, if we scroll up, there's one here as well, Multiboss with the Wings of Justice on it. So I should probably tag that as well. So let's move on to the Multiboss. You can see it here. What I recommend doing with these, if you are in a guild that has enough so you can each take one level, make up a bunch of one-card teams just so you can tag the bosses without accidentally losing any of your other cards or relics. I think this helps a lot. I am going to hit this boss and try and defeat it. They're slightly different to the regular guild bosses. They have Vanguard skills instead. I'm not really sure what that means exactly, as there's no other defender skills on the boss. So that's slightly strange, but I think we can go ahead and hit this anyway. Right, so let's see how much damage I do. I don't get that though, as there's no defender skills on the boss. So if someone wants to explain what that actually does, that would be really useful, as I have no idea. If it doesn't do anything, then that makes the multi-bosses the much better option. And this should be a good hit as well. Yeah, that was a pretty spectacular hit with this team. That's the most damage I have done so far during the event by an absolute mile. But yeah, this should be pretty easy to defeat from here. I maybe shouldn't have wasted this team on this level, but I'm probably not going to be able to kill a level by myself, especially not later on as the bosses get harder. Anyway, I have hit this one now. I could always use my Water Slayer team, I guess, on one of these, even though I probably can't, as some of the cards may be used elsewhere. But we have defeated this anyway. There we go, pretty easy. Well, as the health was low. Yeah, I don't think my Water Slayer team would get through this. Level 148 with 78 Q. And as well as that, the relics would be used on the Water Slayer team. So yeah, that kind of makes it difficult. But there we go, I could tag the boss with this team now. That only uses the one card, meaning I could make up an off-colour team to try and hit one of the other levels if no one else kills it. Right, let's go over to the quests feature you can see here. Now you can see here there is a quest to collect the invader parts. Only need 5 guild members to complete the quest and 100 guilds, so that should be pretty easy. Do not get the care packages or 2 times invader parts though. The prices are ridiculous. The care packages only have guild keys in them. Really not worth the 1,000 gems they cost. Then the community tasks over here. You can see there's quite a lot to do. We only need to complete 10 of these quests, so as long as we get the first 3 days done, we will hopefully complete this, but we will see, I guess. The rare invader parts are quite difficult to get. The normal ones are not so hard, though. And defeating the invaders. I don't know what the other quests for the days will be. There's normally some really difficult ones near the end of the event, though, so bear that in mind. So if we move across to the event rewards, this is kind of disappointing, actually. Considering it's a special event, I expected something better than Legend Souls. This really is the junkiest out of the junk rewards. Might as well just claim these. Who uses those Generation 2 Legends anymore? Well, I do for the odd gold boss, but that's about it. Gold Legend Trials boss, to be more specific. Yeah, just why is this a collection? Shouldn't be a collection. Really shouldn't. Right, I might as well have a look at what it is this time around. Either a Dragoon or a Vanguard, even. Right, what is it? Junius the Subjugator. Trying to say that. Crikey. Okay, decent defender skill. Well, sort of decent. It can reset the battle skills. What else does this card have? You're just having a look. Dispel Countdown. That's interesting, to say the least. Yeah, it's not a bad card. Fear can help the player, though, as well as hinder the player. Kind of makes it difficult to decide if this should be used or not. Plus, the Vanguards are quite difficult to upgrade. So you all need to kind of decide that for yourselves if you want to use this or not. But there we go, that's what it is. Now I might as well go over to here and claim the random 6-star hero. I'll claim that essence in a minute as well. Oh, that's part of the Jailers deck. I don't really use the Jailers anymore, but back in the day it was one of the best decks in the game. So if we scroll up, here's the ultimate form. This is, in my opinion, an essential ultimate form. If you are going to get one deck from the season, make sure it's this deck. I can't see anything better coming up. The reason this deck is so good is because it has that conversion, plus creates the power gems, plus the biggest self-damage increase we have seen so far. So yeah, this is a spectacular ultimate form, plus it's immortal killer, so yeah, this will be used for many, many, many events to come. It will probably end up similar to the Water Slayer combination that I'm using, being one of the most overpowered combinations in the game. So yeah, definitely get this ultimate form if you can get it. I cannot stress that enough. It is really important. I don't have it. Means I'm going to suck this event. Well, hopefully not. But anyway, the two individual cards, well, yeah, not really worth getting just one of the cards. The conversion on this card could be useful. It's not really suitable as a hitting card though, since it's not an ultimate form. But yeah, you could try this converting Metaverse Masters Dark Gems. And I don't think the ultra rare on its own is going to be much use, but let's have a look. Yeah, just creates the power gems. You want both of the cards if you are going to try and get this deck. But the Master Hero alone might be useful just for the conversion. But yeah, I will say it again. This is an amazing deck. Make sure you get it if you can. And finally, while I'm here, let's have a quick look at the news feed. Then I will end this video. The invasion sale is live. Oh yeah, don't forget to claim your free Ultimate Hero shards. That's kind of important. Well, some of the ultimate forms you do get from that are a bit junky, but still, it's something for free. Therefore, it's worth going for anyway. The free pink star here, that's a nice boost if you manage to get it. If the last event was not the Golden Vault, I probably would have got this deck and that extra free pink star. And then, yeah, that just talks about the actual event itself. Collecting those alien materials, you can't trade them, so I guess it's just for the community rewards. So if you are going to leave your guild mid-event, I recommend finishing the quest for that day. But there we go, that's the end of this video. I hope that was helpful. As always, if you do have any questions or suggestions regarding this video, please let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to help. If you did enjoy this video, giving it a like and subscribing is always appreciated. Thank you to those that have already subscribed. We have the previous week's event video on the screen, plus a playlist with all my legendary Game of Heroes videos in it. Plus you can also subscribe from here if you want to do so. And thanks for watching.